Okay, good morning, everybody. Myself Ashish Vartak, Assistant Professor in IT Department, FMT Ratnagiri. Today, today in this session, we are going to give or study regarding Flutter, or we are going to take a brief introduction to Flutter. Now, what is Flutter? Flutter is actually a framework which is designed by Google. Uh, Basically, it is intended for developing applications for mobile app, specifically for mobiles, with the platform like Android and iOS. But afterwards, Google has elaborated more features or introduced more features in this framework, like we can create applications by using for desktop, that are Windows application, Linux applications, as well as web applications. But for web applications, Google has introduced some cross-platform tool which will convert the code which is designed by using Flutter into JavaScript. Basically, Flutter is based on the Dart programming language. Also, the Dart programming language is designed by Google itself. It is a product of Google, but the important thing which we have to know related to Flutter as well as Dart programming language, both are open source language. Uh, and we know we have lots of features or lots of advantages of the open source language. We can explore that language with much freedom. We can introduce our own developments, our own codes in that language without permission of the developer, that is it, Google. uh, that's why Flutter as a framework, which we are using for developing cross-platform application, as well as Dart as a programming language, will give us more features or more freedom for implementation of applications in a various range of platforms like Android, iOS, web, as well as Windows based and Linux based applications also. And more important feature of the Flutter language is that we are going to develop all these applications with same code base. What do you mean by same code base? We are going to design our application for Android platform, and same code we can use to design applications for iOS, web, as well as desktop platform. Only we have to install a tool chain required for that particular platforms. And these tool chains that are being used by the Google for designing a framework, Flutter framework, are all free or open source. Now, we before starting with actual introduction to Flutter, we are going to see first of all what is actually a Flutter. Flutter itself is a SDK, which is used for building cross-platform applications for mobile app development, as well as Windows, as well as uh, web app developments built by the Google. The targeted platforms for Flutter app development are Android, iOS, web, and Windows platform. But we can develop the Linux-based apps also by using Flutter. Now, uh, the major thing we are designing by Flutter is actually UI, user interface, because Flutter itself, rather Flutter, uh, instead of Flutter, the Dart language itself is used to design, or it is introduced for designing the UI as a basic thing. Okay, that's why Flutter also inherits features of the Dart programming language, and that's why we are we can successfully, or we can efficiently design the UI by using Flutter for different devices and different manufacturers. Also, Flutter provides us a super performance because it is optimized. It provides us a feature of optimized framework. Then next thing is why Flutter. Basically, Flutter is based on the Dart programming language, and Dart programming language has feature of strongly typed. It is a strongly typed programming language. What do you mean by strongly typed programming language? That means, of course, in any application, we are going to use variables, and for that we require to or we have to define that variables by using different types. Some programming languages like JavaScripts are can provide us a feature of loosely typed language. That means we have to simply define the variables that we are going to use. Either that variables we can consider that variables as objects, and we should not bother about the type of that objects. Okay, that will be taken care by the compilers, or rather they are going to define or consider as a dynamic objects. But here in Dart programming language, we can use both features, the strongly typed language as well as loosely typed language. We can use dynamic type for a language, as well as we can set the features such that we have to initialize the variable or object before using it by using certain type, and after that we can't change the type of that object. Okay, that's why it is called as a strongly typed language. uh, both are having certain advantages and certain disadvantages. Most important advantage of the strongly typed language is the security, and that will be provided by the Dart as a programming platform, and so it is inherited in the Flutter framework also, because it is based on the Dart programming language. Next thing, the next important feature of the Flutter is we are using Flutter framework for designing application in multiple platforms. For example, Android and iOS platform. For both platforms, we are going to use same code. That means when we want to implement app in Android as well as iOS platform, we are going to design it by using same code base, and we are going to use the same code base for Android as well as iOS platform. That means for both platforms, we need not require to design our application or code for our application again and again. We are going to use same code base, and we are going to implement our app for both platform at the same time. Next is ahead of time compilation. Okay, this feature is very important. Uh, after uh, After implementation of app, if we want to change something, okay, we can use the another feature of the Flutter, that is just in time compilation. Okay, just in time compilation means what? While developing the app, we can change the logic of that app by using some changing some syntax, and directly compile it and see what is the effect of that change. But while in implementation phase, we have to compile that app uh, completely. Okay, that's why we are going to use ahead of time compilation feature that is not available in the JavaScript based application development platforms or framework, that is available in Flutter. Next is uh, we are using Flutter for UI development, majorly UI development. When we are implementing that UI in Android, same UI we can use for iOS by simply compiling it for the given platform. And after compilation, when we are going to create that app, if we change the device, for a given platforms, we are if we change the we are using the same app with different device, but they are using same platform. For example, Android. Uh, for example, one platform, one device, that is Samsung, is using Android platform. Another device, for example, Motorola, it is using same Android platform. We need not bother about the hardware specifications of that platform, because it is taken care by the compiler itself. Okay, that's why manufacturer, OS version, different devices, uh, this kind of difficulties we should not face if we are using Flutter as a framework. Next is uh, Android API. Okay, Flutter is actually designing the app starting from scratch. We are not using Android API features in the Flutter application development. Okay, that's why we should not bother about what are the features which are provided by the Android OS, and we can implement applications by using Flutter. Uh, Next is we are going to see why we can use a Flutter for app development. We have different platforms by which we can create apps. Some platforms are using JavaScript. Some platforms are using a different other language like Java. Here, another platform or another framework that we are using, that is Flutter. Why we are using Flutter for app development? First is open source. It is a very important thing, because since Flutter is open source framework, that's why anyone can use it, anyone can change it. Next is fast development cycle. Uh, you know that when we are implementing app, the life cycle of the app, starting from the implementation to deployment, it should be less. Why? Because market needs it. Uh, if we are deploying the app quickly in the market, we are getting some advantages. That's why the development cycle of the given technology should be small. Okay, here Flutter language provides us a faster development cycle. Okay, because we have a feature of just-in-time compilation. Uh, that feature gives us some important aspects like hot reload and hot restart. Next is super productivity. Since the Flutter provides us the features like hot reload and hot restart, we are experiencing the given Flutter platform as a super productive platform, because we are we can implement our apps with smaller implementation life cycle. Next is we can implement our app by using stateful widget, stateful widget as well as stateless widget, and it has some inherent advantages like we can use this stateful widget with fast iterative coding style. Next is Next important thing is learning curve of this Flutter platform. The learning curve is actually Flutter platform is based on the entirely different programming language, that is Dart. That's why we have to learn that programming language before starting with implementation of app by using Flutter. But this Dart programming language is based on object-oriented programming concept, and it has the features, or it has implementation which is most closer or similar to the C++ programming style, and almost all developers have studied the C++ programming style. That's why it is much easier to understand that programming language, and in turn, it is much easier to understand Flutter framework and implementation of apps by using Flutter. That's why anyone who have basic knowledge of the object-oriented programming and UI design, he or she can definitely design the apps more easily in the Flutter or by using Flutter framework. As well as it has some ready-made widget libraries. Okay. Uh, First of all, we have to understand that all the things that we are implementing in the app by using Flutter framework, it is actually widgets. All the things. That's why if we have ready-made widget libraries, we can take help of that and we can build our app on the top of these widget libraries, and so that the learning curve or development curve of the app becomes smaller or easier. Next is community support. First of all, this Flutter framework is slightly new. That's why its community is very small. That can be considered as a drawback, but it is growing with very fast pace because it is backed by the Google, and this Flutter framework for app development uh, in nowadays it is being used by lots of companies as well as developer groups. That's why due to the fast growth of the Flutter framework in the industry, for fast adoption rate of the Flutter framework in the industry, it has a growing community support for Flutter language. Now, which applications are designed by Flutter or by using this Flutter framework? These are popular applications. You can see the app like a Dream 11, eBay, Google Pay, which is owned by the Google itself, as well as Stadia gaming platform. All these are very popular applications, and these are entirely developed by Google. Sorry, a Flutter framework or Flutter application development tool. You might have used some of these apps. You can see these apps have a good UI interface. That is the feature of the Flutter. Flutter supports a very beautiful, by using Flutter we can develop a very beautiful UI, and that is important feature of the Flutter. Now, the next point that we are going to see, Flutter ecosystem. We are going to start with how we can install the Flutter framework in our computer and how we can use it, and what are the online tools which are available by which we can understand how to design this Flutter app. Let us start with the very important documentation available in the on the internet related to Flutter, that is a flutter.dev. You can see this. This is actually official website available on the internet related to Flutter. From here, we can download that Flutter, and it has uh, all the information related to how to use Flutter, how to install Flutter, and what are the things that are available uh, inside the Flutter. Now, we are going to start with Flutter downloading the Flutter. How to download the Flutter and how to install it. First of all, see inside this development, we have one tab that is Learn. We can click on this and we will get this app. This web page will provides us lots of information. Now, first of all, we have to visit on this get to know Flutter doc, and it will provide us the link for doc.flutter.dev. All the things that we can use or we can use from the Flutter are already available in this uh, in this website. Now, let us click on this get started. Here we are going to get the link for installation of the Flutter. We have to choose the platform that we are using. For example, in my case, I'm going to use the Windows platform. That's why I'm clicking on this. And here, all the things starting from the system requirement and up to how to use this Flutter framework is already written. Let us see. The operating system requirement is much much moderate. For example, we require Windows 7 x86 64 base platform. This space required is 1.64 GB, and it is almost available in the all devices. Now, how we are going to install this Flutter? Uh, for that, we require to download this Flutter.zip or stable SDK version of the Flutter. After downloading this stable SDK version of Flutter, we are going to get a zip file. We have to unzip it, and the folder that we are going to get after unzipping it, just we have to paste in. Uh, Actually, we can paste it in any path, but let us follow this rule that paste it by using this as a path: C colon src colon Flutter. That's it. Okay. After unzipping this zip file, we have to just copy the unzipped folder, and we have to paste it in this path. That's it. That is only process available or required for installation of the Flutter, nothing else. And the very important thing we have to do after pasting that folder, that is include that folder into path. That means we have to set the environmental variables, and we have to set this path into that user variable section of environmental variable. That's it. We have to do only that thing. Now, how to test whether that Flutter which we have downloaded, as well as we have included its path in the environmental variable, whether it is successful or not, how to test it. Okay, for that, on command prompt, we have to type this flutter doctor command, and we are going to get all the things which are available within our system, which are supporting this Flutter platform, as well as whatever things that we need to install. The major thing that we need to install is a toolchain, Android toolchain, and that toolchain includes Android SDK. Now, to install this Android toolchain, we need to install Android Studio. And now, how to install Android Studio? Android Studio installation is very simple. We have to download Android Studio from the official website of the Android, that is developer.android.com. Just we have to click on this. We have to download the exe file, and by using normal process of Android Studio installation, we have to install it. I'm not going to show you how to install Android Studio, but it is much easier. Like any normal application. Now, after installing Android Studio, we are going to solve this problem that we are facing here in Android toolchain, for installation of Android toolchain or for installation of Android SDK. After that, we have to agree some licenses. Okay, how to agree some licenses? On same command window, we are going to get one error to agree licenses related to Android. Just we have to press this command, and it is going to prompt us to agree all the licenses related to Android. We have to agree it, and that's it. Okay, that will completely set up the framework for Flutter. Now, next thing, which editor we are going to use? There are lots of options. Okay, see, previous process has provided us the all the things related to Flutter framework toolchain. Now we have to use that toolchain from some editor. Okay, what editor we are going to use? We have lots of options. We can choose as per our convenience. For example, we can use Android Studio that we already installed. We can use IntelliJ IDEA that is available for community edition also, community version also, or we can use a most popular editor, that is a Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio. It is simply a VS Code or Visual Studio Code. After, okay, and I am preferring to use this Visual Studio Code for my development. That's why I'm emphasizing on this Visual Studio Code, because it is a lightweight version, as well as it is a faster version for use and for development also. This Android Studio, I'm feeling it is a heavy version, and Visual Studio Code is a faster version. That's why I'm recommending this. Now, after installation of Visual Studio Code, we have to install these two plugins, Flutter and Dart plugin. After installation of this Flutter and Dart plugin, how to install this Flutter and Dart plugin? By the way, by using inside this Visual Studio Code, there is a view mode. Inside that, we have a command palette. In that, we have install, and in that we have extensions. And from this extension, we can install Flutter and Dart plugin. Okay. Now, after, and it requires internet, that's why we have to connect our system with the internet. And after installation of Flutter and Dart plugin, we can directly start with the implementation. Okay, this is one option. That means from system we can develop our application by using Visual Studio Code or VS Code. There are other options also, like we can code our applications by using online tools. There are some online tools which are available. These are not free, but for educational purpose, we can use them. And one of the online tools that I have used it, that is flutlab.io. Okay, now I am going to show you what is that flutlab.io. This flutlab.io is a tool available. Okay, trial version we can use. You can use your Google account for log into it, or you can use Google account for oh, sorry. Now this online platform will provide us uh, one of the best tool for implementation, as well as experimentation, to perform experimentation with Flutter app development. Now you can see this at the left side. We have lots of folder. These are actually created for development of apps for different platforms. For example, if you want to develop an app by using Android platform, you have to use this folder. If you want to develop the app by using iOS platform, you have to use this folder. And this lib file contains main dot dot. Here we are actually going to write our program for the particular app development. And the next important thing is pubspec.yaml. Here we are going to use dependencies. You are going to write dependencies. That means you can consider it as a library files that you are using in your applications. Its path, or from where we can fetch it, we are going to write its path here, or we are going to include its path here. For example, here in this application, we have used here material design library, and we have included it in this pubspec.yaml. That means any library that we are trying to use in this main dot dot, we have to include it in this pubspec.yaml. Now, this is the small applications that I have created, or I have already implemented. Uh, it will gives us the a banner that is welcome to Flutter. Let us try to implement it or try to simulate it. Here we have to use or we have to select on which platform we are going to implement this app. There are various options. For example, on web or on iOS, on Android. On Android, we can use x86 platform or 64-bit platform or ARM 64, any platform that we can use. Here, since we are simulating it on web platform, that's why I'm going to use it web. And then we can directly build this project. It requires some time. After this, when this project ready, it will indicate us. Now our project is completed. So that we can use this web emulator tool of this online platform. Just click on it. And now you can see the same thing we can use or we can emulate by using our actual mobile also. We are going to get this screen on the mobile. Now let us see hot reload facility of this Flutter platform. Now I'm changing something from this code. Instead of hello world, I'm going to use hello information technology. Now, since I have changed this code, it is not required to build it once again. Just what we have to do, we have to use hot reload, its hot reload facility. Now you can see the change that will be directly reflected by using this online emulator. Same thing we can do by using hardware, by connecting hardware also. This is what the hot reload facility of this Flutter platform or Flutter framework. That means while in implementation phase, we can change something, we can test that thing directly without going for uh, building the project again and again. Okay, that will save our implementation time. Now, this is what the platform we can use for developing our apps by using Flutter. This is another thing that I want to provide you or inform you. Next thing, the for what kind of libraries we can use and from where we can search that libraries that we want to use in the Flutter app development or Flutter programs itself. We can use that library or we can search that libraries from pub.dev website. This website is dedicated for the searching the packages or libraries that we are using in Flutter. For example, if you want to use Firebase package, just search it on this and we are going to get all the things related to Firebase package. For example, okay, this Firebase package is used for interfacing the database which is there on which is available in the Google Cloud. Now you can see there are lots of things which are provided here: Firebase, Firebase Core, as well as some cloud functions related packages which are already available. Some packages are developed by the Google itself. Some packages are developed by the community. And we can use them as per our requirement. For searching, we can search it by using pub.dev website. Now, next thing, if you want to understand something related to Dart programming language, we can visit on the dart.dev. It has wide documentation related to Dart programming language. It is official website of the Dart programming language. Here we can use it and we can understand, we can study. Now you can see in doc, we are getting all the information, extensive information related to Dart programming language. Basically, Dart programming language is very important or it is essential to implement Flutter framework because Flutter framework itself based on the Dart programming language. We can use this for language tour. We can understand it. Now you can see this. This is a very simple hello world code for Dart programming language. It is almost similar to the C++ style. That's why I'm saying that Dart programming language is most similar to the object-oriented programming language that is the most popular programming language, C++. Now, these are some programming features of the Dart programming language that are already available in all object-oriented programming language, like how to implement variables, how to implement control flow statement like if, for, while, how to implement functions, as well as how to implement classes and objects and all things related to object-oriented programming language. Next thing we can see, if you want to test the programs which are developed by using Dart, we have some online tools available that are dartpad.dev. Here, it is the most popular tool. It is free, open source. Here we can test any Dart program and we can see the results. For example, here we can type the Dart program, we can run it, and we can check its results. There are now we have a feature for simulation of the Flutter app by using this Dart pad. For example, here there are some samples which are available. For here, we can create a counter app for Flutter by using dartpad.dev. Here you can implement the Flutter program for creating a counter and you can test it directly here. You can see we have created one counter. By pressing this button, we can increment this number. That means it is counting how many times we are clicking this button. Same thing, we can copy it and we can paste it on this flutlab.io that we have used. We can test it here also. Same code, we can test it here by using simply hot reload. You can see this here also, same thing we are observing. Now it is actually this build, by building this project, we have created one app which counts how many times we have pressed this button, and that count will be displayed here. Okay, this by this way we can implement whatever app that we want to implement, as well as we can test it online without requirement of the installations. That is the main feature that we can use to decrease our uh, development time. Okay, that's it from my side. If you want to ask any question, you can ask me.